Odan CTC TV. The American Biano of Anissa. Odan for Najatum. Tear party. What I say, Wajatum, tear party. Party Ajatum. Odan for Timudi. Moti Tum. City TV. City TV. COMOAKU. City TV. I want a place, Michelle. Blaster place, no. Ghana local place, no. All will be a City TV. City na. Keko. Go on.
Thrive. We create wealth that endures, jobs that empower, a legacy that inspires generation. The table, ladies and gentlemen, awaits us. Let's claim our seat. I look forward to our deliberations, igniting the transformation over the next 2 days. Thank you very much indeed. Thank
you. Your Excellency Carlos Villanova, President of the Democratic Republic of Sao Tome and Principe. Excellence, Monsieur Afi Guessan, Ancien Premier Ministre de la République, as turning point. Yes, the African Continental Free Trade Area has created an unprecedented market opportunity. Yes, global value chains are being reconfigured. Demand for strategic minerals, manufactured goods, and green technologies is rising. And Africa's demographic and entrepreneurial potential remains one of its greatest strengths. Yet, a central question remains. Will Africa continue exporting raw materials? I say, of course not. Africa should increase its trade in value-added goods produced on the continent. Too much of Africa's trade remains commodity-based, with limited value retained locally. Many industrial ambitions struggle to move from policy to production. While Africa has a clear vision, from UNIDO's perspective, the core challenge lies in pace and scale, marked by timid integration and slow execution. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's clear the African Continental Free Trade Area, will not deliver all its promises without industrialization. And industrialization will not succeed without trade.
Please warmly welcome Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjari.
Thank you, Anita. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Your Excellency Carlos Villanova, President of Sao Tome and Principe, H.E. Pascal of Côte d'Ivoire, former Prime Minister, H.E. Fatal, Deputy UNIDO, colleague ministers, heads of delegation, distinguished captains of industry, development partners, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, greetings. It is my singular honor to welcome the visionary Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, and other distinguished heads of states of other African countries who have joined this August gathering. As Ghana's Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, I am privileged to address this distinguished gathering at the Africa Trade Summit 2026. We find ourselves at a defining moment as we deliberate on financing Africa's industrialization, one where the choices we make today will determine whether Africa becomes a global industrial powerhouse or remain trapped in its role as a supplier of raw materials. According to the IMF Historical New Industrial Policy Observatory, there has been a structural break in global industrial policy since 2020. We have witnessed an acceleration in policy activity with new motives emerging beyond traditional competitiveness objectives, supply chain resilience, national security, and strategic autonomy. Between 2009 and 2023, over 33,000 industrial policy interventions were implemented worldwide, with subsidies being the primary instrument in both advanced and emerging economies. The message is clear. Industrial policy is back, and it is being financed aggressively. The question for Africa is not whether we should pursue industrial policy, but how we finance it effectively in the context of limited physical space, competing priorities, and an increasingly protectionist global trading system. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the advanced economies offer us critical lessons that we can adopt to leapfrog and change the dynamics of our industrial path. First, these economies have embraced blended financial mechanisms. The United States Inflation Reduction Act combined tax credits, grants and loans, guarantees to support clean energy financing. The European Union's Green Deal merges public grants with requirements for private sector co-investment. China's model layers state loans, equity stakes through sovereign funds, and preferential procurement.
We have the President of Sao Tome and Principe, who will be joining me very soon for a panel discussion. And ladies and gentlemen, bringing us to the last but definitely not the least, allow me with a resounding round of applause to bring to the stage our special guest of honor. Please be upstanding as we bring His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, to the stage.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you very much, Your Excellency and my brother, Carlos Villanova, President of Sao Tome and Principe, Your Excellency, former Prime Minister of Côte d'Ivoire, Pascal Affi-N'Guessan, our Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Okosu-Ajayi, and other Ministers of State who are present here. Mr. Xavier Kofi Jean-Ro, founder of EcoBank and ASCAI, we're happy to have you here with us today. Hardworking Benedicta was formerly our secretary to the Socialist International, and she's transmogrified into the African Trade Chamber as Sam Jonah, who in his older age now tells it as it is, and let the chips fall where they may. He says we should be boldly selfish in Africa, and we should be inward-looking, very inward-looking, and also if we are to break through, we must demand disruption. We must disrupt the system. Thank you, Sir Sam. Senior government officials who are present here, key stakeholders from the international trade system, captains of industry from Ghana and across Africa, sponsors and partners of the 2026 Africa Trade Summit, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends from the media. It's a great honor for me to join you today at this Africa Trade Summit under the timely theme of financing Africa's industrialization, developing industrial value chains, beneficiation, and market integration. Your presence here today reflects our shared determination to secure Africa's economic future. Africa stands at a historic turning point. Our generation's defining task is economic independence. Political freedom without economic transformation is incomplete. We can no longer accept an economic model that consigns Africa to exporting raw materials and importing finished goods. That model is a neo-colonial arrangement that is designed to trap Africa in perpetual poverty. It is important for Africa to industrialize on the basis of its comparative advantages. Manufacturing and agro-processing creates jobs, they raise incomes, deepen skills, and anchor inclusive growth. They enable us to retain more value from our own resources and build resilient economies. And yet today, Africa's share of global manufacturing remains low, below 2%. Too many of our economies are locked into low productivity and primary production, compelling millions of young Africans to seek opportunities elsewhere. We must act urgently if we are to change this narrative. The central question before us is simple. How do we finance Africa's industrialization at the required scale and speed? Industrialization is capital intensive, yet access to long-term affordable finance remains constrained, especially for small and medium-sized enterprises that employ the majority of Africa's industrial workforce. Shallow financial markets, high interest rates, debt pressures, and limited non-extractive investments continue to slow our progress. These constraints demand new thinking and collective action. First, Africa must mobilize its domestic resources more effectively through improved revenue collection, stronger financial management, and decisive action taken against illicit financial flows. Second, we must unlock Africa's institutional capital. Our pension funds, our insurance companies, and sovereign wealth funds manage hundreds of billions of dollars. With the right instruments, industrial bonds, infrastructure funds, diaspora financing, and blended finance vehicles, this capital can be channeled into productive industrial investments. Our development finance institutions, including the Afri-Exim and the African Development Bank, must be further empowered to mobilize private capital and support regional industrial projects. Thirdly, government must actively crowd in private sector investment, public-private partnerships, risk-sharing mechanisms, and credit guarantees. These are essential if we are to finance our industrialization. However, investors will only commit where policies are stable, regulations are transparent, infrastructure is reliable, and the rule of law and democracy are respected. And finally, development partners and multilateral institutions have a critical role to play. Concessional finance, guarantees, and insurance instruments can de-risk industrial projects. At the same time, Africa must continue to advocate for reform of the global financial system to ensure fair access to capital and sustainable debt solutions. Africa's industrialization must be anchored in value addition and beneficiation. For decades, Africa has exported cocoa, oil, cotton, timber, and minerals in their raw form, only to re-import finished goods made from some of these same products at many times their original value. This model has deprived our economies of jobs, technology, and revenue. Consider cocoa, for which Ghana is one of the leading producers. Africa produces most of the world's cocoa, yet captures only a small fraction of the value of the global chocolate market. Similar imbalances exist in oil refining, textiles, and mineral processing. Beneficiation alters this equation by creating domestic industries, reducing imports, and increasing export earnings. Across the continent, encouraging progress is underway. In Ghana, we're deliberately shifting from a commodity export model to a value-added economy, prioritizing agro-processing, manufacturing, and industrial clusters that are aligned with our natural advantages. As part of our recent agenda for economic transformation, we're looking to add value to our exports, such as cocoa, cashews, oil palm, cassava, petroleum, gold, manganese, bauxite, etc. And on the issue of resource sovereignty, we must break the colonial mode of large foreign-owned concessions, extracting value for the benefit of foreign interests and entities while Africa remains in poverty. And as Sam Leonard said, we must be boldly selfish and claim a fairer share of our natural resource endowment. In Ghana, I'll give you a simple example. We're exercising greater sovereignty over our natural resources. The establishment of the Ghana Gold Board has given us greater control over our gold exports. In 2024, total gold exports from the small-scale mining sector was said to amount to 63 tons. Of this volume, the foreign exchange repatriation accounted for only about 40 tons of the exported gold. 23 tons of forex did not come back. Since the establishment of the Gold Board in April 2025, exports from the small-scale mining sector to date have increased to 104 tons, with 100% of the foreign exchange repatriated through our central bank. Ghana is also increasing the participation of indigenous Ghanaian companies in mining and other natural resource extraction activities. Local content laws have been passed that make it mandatory for non-Ghanaian investors to partner with local companies in all mining and extractive investment activity. Industrialization cannot succeed within fragmented national markets. Africa's future lies in regional value chains. Not every country can produce everything, but together we can build competitive industries across our borders where raw materials, intermediate goods, and final products and finished products move seamlessly within our regions. This is how other areas have industrialized. To support this, Africa must invest in transport corridors, energy grids, digital infrastructure, while harmonizing standards and regulations. Industrial integration requires market integration. The African Continental Free Trade Area is the most ambitious integration project ever in the history of our continent. By creating a single market of over 1.3 billion people, African Continental Free Trade Area provides the scale African industry has long lacked to expand. It transforms Africa into a viable manufacturing and investment destination. And Ghana is proud to host the secretariat of this continental body and to be among the early adopters of trading under its preferences. But the African Continental Free Trade Area will not automatically industrialize Africa. It must be deliberately linked to industrial policy, infrastructure investment, and enterprise development. Reducing non-tariff barriers, simplifying customs procedures, improving logistics, and investing in digital trade infrastructure are essential if the African Continental Free Trade Area is to deliver on its promise. Ghana's experience reinforces key lessons. Industrialization works when policies are deliberate, infrastructure is reliable, skills are developed, and macroeconomic stability is maintained. Investments in transport, energy, and technical education are foundational. Equally important is good governance. Investor confidence thrives where institutions are strong and policies are predictable. Africa's industrial transformation cannot be achieved solely by governments. Governments must provide the leadership and stability. The private sector must invest and innovate. Financial institutions must design long-term financing solutions. Development partners must align with Africa's priorities. Pan-African institutions must coordinate and remove the barriers to integration. As I conclude, let us envision an Africa with thriving industrial corridors, integrated supply chains, and competitive factories producing for African and global markets. An Africa where prosperity is shared and opportunity is created at home. This vision is bold but achievable. What is required now is urgency and resolve. We must move from declarations to delivery, from agreements to implementation, and from vision to construction. Let this Africa Trade Summit be remembered as a moment when commitments were matched with action and partnerships were forged to power Africa's industrial future. On this note, I have the privilege and honor to declare this Africa Trade Summit 2026 officially open. Thank you. God bless Africa.